Welcome to the Gaggle, where we talk politics in Arizona and beyond. This week, an insurance program for lower-income kids is running out of money, and potential candidates are continuing to size up Jeff Flake's Senate seat. But first, we start with good news for plastic bags everywhere. Dustin Gardner, this fight between the Arizona legislature and local governments over what they can and cannot do has kind of come to a head in Bisbee. What happened?
Yeah, so it was another loss for local control in the state. The city of Bisbee, the small Arizona city, they had an ordinance that prohibited plastic bags, grocery bags being passed out at grocery stores or other retailers. And the state had passed a law last year that prohibited that sort of regulation. So they were investigated by the Attorney General under another law that allows the legislature to withhold state-shared revenue from cities or towns that pass laws in conflict with the state. And Bisbee, after getting notice from the AG's office, they caved and they decided to repeal that ordinance and make the ban a voluntary ban. There's no mandatory ban.
So this would have been about a quarter of their budget, correct?
Yeah, so they stood to lose almost $2 million, which was a quarter of the town's small budget.
And they just decided that's just not a risk they're willing to take at this point.
Yeah, so the mayor said that it would have bankrupted the town. He called it a death sentence for their city. So for now, they're not fighting the state, but they are talking about getting, I guess, some legal assistance from different groups around the country and seeing if they can take it to court. So we'll see if that materializes.
So, Mary Jo, you wrote about the KidsCare program, which is running out of funds. What does it do, and what are people doing to get more money?
Sure. KidsCare pays for health insurance for kids from low-income families. It's only for the kids, and this is if you're in a family that is not poor enough to qualify for access, but you really can't find an affordable insurance policy through your employer or through the exchange. Right now, there's 23,000 Arizona kids in this program. A couple years ago, when enrollment had been frozen, it was at 5,000. Last year, in 2016, the legislature said we're going to renew this. They opened up the floodgates, and they've seen growth threefold in the ranks. But Congress shut off the funding at the end of the federal fiscal year, September 30th. Arizona's got some money that can tide it over maybe into the end of this month or early December. They're really in a dilemma because if they're supposed to send out notices 30 days in advance if they're going to kick people off. And without funding, that's exactly what they're going to have to do. I understand the governor's office has got a couple of solutions that they're thinking about. They're temporary. At bottom line, you still need Congress to act.
So, Ron, as we talked about last week, Senator Jeff Flake says he's not running for re-election. There were a few people talking about getting in. It seems that's sort of taking shape a little more. At least there was a meeting about it late last week that you reported on. What happened?
Well, the Republican members of our state's delegation met amongst themselves to sort of figure out who is interested, who thinks they might actually be willing to take the plunge.
Was it like rock, paper, scissors?
Might as well have been. That might have been more decisive, I think. Out of that, we got Martha McSally expressed an interest in this, and also Paul Gosar, who had only a day earlier seemed to pour cold water on that notion. Others, including David Schweikert and Trent Franks, noted that they were not especially interested in it at this time.
You said it got cut short. I mean, were they intending to come out of that meeting all behind one person as the candidate, or did they just kind of want to talk it over? What was the objective?
Yeah, I think it was mostly just to talk it over and sort of gauge who is interested in this and who might make an actual run for this. They got cut short because the House was voting on some budget matters as well, but I don't know that had it gone an hour as they originally planned, if anything would have been substantively different.
So, Mary Jo, what are you watching for this week?
I'm trying to figure out why Arizona never responded when the U.S. Senate Finance Committee 2 years ago sought information on foster care services. And they issued a big report last month. Arizona is not in there because they never bothered to respond.
Ron?
I want to know who jumps into that Senate race.
Yeah.
Me too. Dustin?
I'm looking at Russian hacking, and it looks like we're finally going to get some answers about reports that they targeted the state voter database.
Thanks for watching The Gaggle. We'll be back next week.